A lot of us are car enthusiasts out there, but even for the regular folk, when you go out into the used car market, you find that all of a sudden you could pick up your favorite German car, a car that you couldn't really touch when it was brand new, something like a Benz AMG or a BMW M or an Audi RS. Even the Audi S's and BMW M lights and the AMG lights, even those are really expensive brand new, but all of a sudden, when you go into the used car market, they become affordable. And often those cars are demanding prices that Civics, Corollas, Hyundais are demanding. And therefore, a lot of enthusiasts, but also a lot of regular folk, are really tempted by these German cars and they want to get into them. Right? Forget the AMGs even. Sometimes it's just the basic nice German cars, something like a BMW 330i or a 320i that still was too expensive brand new and now they want to get into it. One of the biggest concerns people have is what is the repair cost going to be like and what is the maintenance cost going to be like? And I'm going to spell it out for you exactly today. But before I get into it, I want to tell you two facts. Number one, the market is really good at pricing things in. So just because you think you're getting a deal, you think you are getting an AMG at the price of an Accord, it's not the deal that you think it is because the market is pricing in a lot of other factors. Things like repairs, maintenance, your engine going out. Okay, so that price out there is a fair price. It's not as if it's a hack or a deal that no one else can see and you're someone who's discovered this thing. It's not the case at all. It's just the market telling you that car is exactly where it should be sitting. Number two, this is something I've noticed many times and it is the random nature of German cars. German cars can be very finicky. You can get an example which treats you really well, and I have plenty of stories, families and friends, and a lot of my viewers who say to me that I've had a BMW or a Benz or an Audi. In fact, some people have had multiple old Benzes, Audis, BMWs, and have had a great run. And there's other people who will have not such an old example and have a terrible run, or an old example and have a terrible run. I mean, you just can't figure it out. And even my BMW experience, a really good example, full service history, only 7 years old, 50,000 kilometers, massive lemon. So these things do have a random nature. Now, there's a few things that play into it. It's not Japanese quality control. I'm sorry to say, guys, that's just how it is. Another thing is the way people drive these cars. These are enthusiast cars. They're not driven like your average Camry, and that really does impact it as well. Those two things out of the way, let's get into repairs. Now, with repairs, you want to follow something that's called the 10% rule. And the 10% rule is that whatever price you pay in the used car market, you factor in 10% of the cost of that car. So if you paid $35,000, you factor in 3.5K of that cost per year for the first 3 years for repairs only. So if you go out there, you buy a $35,000 German car, all of a sudden, the first year you should have 3,500, the next year you should have 3,500, and then the third year you should have 3,500. Now, why I say you do it for the first 3 years is that life is changing up and down. After 3 years, who knows where that car is going to be, what your situation is going to be, but you want to factor in that cost per year. Now, there's a thing that gets people messed up here. They think that they can just factor this cost per year and be okay. But as I said, these cars do have a random nature to them. And for the first 2 years, you can have no breakdowns. And then in the third year, you could have a massive breakdown. And similarly, as soon as you buy that car, you can have a big breakdown. And then for the next 2 years, you can be in the clear. So when you're allocating that cash, you need to understand that it's just not the 3,500 that you've got yourself for the first year. You have to have that combined number, 3.5K times 3, which is 10.5K. You've got to have that combined number set aside. So in the first year, you buy that car, in a couple of months, you're hit with a repair that costs you $10,500. You want to be able to pony up. That's all it is, right? So you've got to have that calculation. If you buy a $20,000 German car, well, then you should have $6,000 saved up. So that's the 10% rule. A lot of people follow that. I think it's a pretty genuine rule, but there is another rule you might want to follow. And I think this rule is for people who want to be conservative. And this is also the 10% rule, but the 10% is applied to the original value the car sold at when it was brand new. Often people will go out in the market and they'll get something like a BMW 7 Series. And I was just looking at car sales last night, and in Australia, 7 Series, upwards of $200,000, $300,000. In the used car market, you can find examples as low as 12, 13, $14,000. Smart way of doing it is understanding that, okay, I'm going to go buy that 7 Series, which costs $14,000 on the used car market. How much was it brand new? Well, it was $200,000 brand new. I should allocate 10% of that value. Now, with this rule over here, you don't want to do it yearly. You just want to allocate a full 10%. So if you're buying a 7 Series, doesn't matter what you pay for it, you want to look at what it originally sold for and allocate 10%. So if it sold for $200,000, you want to allocate $20,000. If something sold for $100,000, you want to allocate $10,000 and have that set aside. Now, why is that? Just because a car has depreciated, it was over here, and now it's down here. Just because a car has depreciated down there does not mean that the parts of that car have depreciated down. And it certainly doesn't mean that the labor is depreciated down, right? Labor rates go up and parts effectively stay the same, or sometimes they go up as well. It's something that German car owners suffer with a lot, because often with these old German cars, BMW, Audi, Mercedes, they stop making those parts. There's a certain period where after that, they don't give you parts anymore, so people have to rely on the aftermarket, and often the aftermarket can then jack up the prices, and that's where you can run into issues. So there's these two rules to repairs. Any of them you could follow. I think if you're being conservative, you want to follow the second rule, which is using the original value of the car. All right, now there is a maintenance element of this, and I know you're probably thinking, maintenance, that's boring. I know all about maintenance. Talk about tires and brakes, aren't you? And maybe fuel. Well, I'm not going to cover fuel because everyone knows about fuel. I'm not going to cover insurance or registration. You guys know about that if you own cars anyways, right? In fact, with German cars, often they're very efficient and fuel is pretty good, right? My BMW 6-cylinder, that ate less fuel than my Toyota GR Yaris that I'm in today. This is a 3-cylinder, it eats more fuel, right? So German cars, they're really good. I think they're better than Japanese cars in terms of their fuel consumption, as long as you're not beating up on them, right? If you start beating up your car, then anything goes. Any car will get expensive. Even, Toyotas get expensive. So let's forget that. Let's talk about actual maintenance. And what I've found is that maintenance can easily overshadow repairs. Brakes and tires on German cars, on German performance cars, can bankrupt you, right? So there is a financial rule you want to use for maintenance as well. Rule number one is you follow that budget you had for repairs, and that covers off your maintenance and your repairs. And that I think is somewhat reasonable, but again, that starts to cut it a little bit slim. But that can work if you're a smart buyer, right? If you go out into the used car market, you inspect the tires, you inspect the brakes, and don't just inspect pads, look at the rotors. If you've had that inspection, then I think that first rule is pretty good. But if you haven't done that inspection, then you follow rule number two, which is calculating the level of maintenance you'll need and just taking that lump sum, fully separating it from the repairs and putting it aside and having it done as soon as you can. This is where you have to be a bit smarter about German cars and understand how you want to treat it. So for example, when you get an old BMW or Audi or Mercedes, you can have a bunch of stuff. First of all, coolant changes. You might have to do a coolant change. Oil change is going to be a thing. You might have to change your tires. You might have to change rotors and pads. You might have to change differential fluid. You might have to change a Haldex or a Quattro type fluid for all-wheel drive or transfer case. You might have to change a filter. So what you can do is calculate all of these costs and allocate them as exact costs. It's very easy to calculate maintenance costs. You just have to figure out the level of maintenance you have to do, put that aside, and separate from the repairs. I hope that helps. I'll catch you next time.